Joining me now is Joel Katz, the Australasia Managing Director of the Cruise Lines International Association. Thanks very much for your time, Joel. It's obviously been a devastating 18 months to 2 years for the industry.
Good afternoon. Good to be with you. Yes, 18,000 jobs around Australia are dependent on the cruise industry, and what they're saying is that they need some certainty about the pathway forward, and that's what we're saying to the government. Let's work out what the framework is for cruise resumption, so that all these Australians who are looking for the pathway ahead can plan their lives.
Joel, is there much demand from those that were cruise goers prior to the pandemic? Has that demand, not just from business, but from the tourists, the travellers themselves, has that returned?
Yeah, so pre-COVID, we had the highest market penetration for cruise in the world here in Australia. That's 1 in 17 Australians cruised. And they're saying to us that they'd like to get back onto ships. We have the opportunity, while our international borders are closed, to offer domestic cruising to the amazing ports and destinations we have right around Australia. Our communities, our regional areas are crying out for tourism, and cruise has an ability to deliver those visitors to those communities while the international borders remain closed safely within the Australian bubble.
So this is essentially domestic tourism that you're talking about, not even between Australia and New Zealand?
That's right. We're not talking about international cruising by any means. Nobody's expecting that the cruise industry is going to get back to normal, anytime soon. This is really about those first initial baby steps, you could say. Let's get ships trading domestically around Australia, and then when the health conditions are appropriate and the health advice is there, expand trans-Tasman, and then increasingly into international borders.
What do your members say to you in terms of their planning for international resumption, and is that happening anywhere in the world already in terms of those that maybe have higher vaccination rates?
So we're actually already seeing cruising here in Australia. One of our small members who have an Australian flagship, which is inside the Australian border, is operating with exactly the same kind of health protocols that we're talking about. The industry's done a lot of work over the last 18 months to develop a really comprehensive set of health protocols that cover the entire passenger journey from the time they make the booking until the time they get home. And that includes a commitment for 100% testing of all passengers and crew. So that means nobody's getting on board a cruise ship who doesn't first test negative to COVID. And we're seeing in almost every other major cruise market, apart from Australia, that either cruise is starting or the discussions are well advanced as to what the pathway forward for cruise is.
Joel Katz, Australasia Managing Director of the Cruise Lines Association. Thanks, appreciate your time.